As we march to the trenches tonight with Sam Spence and the great Elmer Bernstein strains as well from that great Western starring Lee Marvin. John Jacobson here Sunday night, prime time with Sean Revis, our studio engineer. You are listening to the first of our anchor legs on Sunday evenings at 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock high, 6 bells p.m. We have sprung forward. I think I say sprung forward. Dizzy Dean once said that a player slid into third. He should have said slid into third. I think we have sprung forward here, and it's a glorious day here. But Sean, grab that mic for just a second, Sean. Weird weather. They're talking by Thursday or Friday a potential bomb cyclone right over the middle of Kansas. That could portend anything from a blizzard to tornadoes here.
Yep, that's what they were saying. And essentially, I guess for our area anyway, we're kind of right on that line, too. So part of the area could see blizzard conditions and the other half could see tornadoes.
So stay tuned to KOFO for all of your live local weather. We have it here on 1220 and 103.7 KOFO, your country music giant in the East Central Plains of Kansas. Your home and away voice of the Kansas City Royals Thursday, opening day Thursday, Sean Revis. And we've got, Thursday the 27th, I should say, coming up. Thursday the 27th is opening day. We're starting to get celebratory. We've got, obviously, a lot of spring training reports. It seems like they've got stuff going on with spring games almost every day here. We have our Ottawa boys Cyclones, 22-0, perfect season, number one ranked in the state of Kansas, 4A basketball, heading to state. They are one win away from no worse than a third or fourth place consolation game. They are 2 wins away from playing in the state championship. The Ottawa boys, 22-0. We will have all of that play-by-play with Luke Queen, as we have had all year here on KOFO, and also Baldwin City. Baldwin just up the road and over a bit. Their boys are going to state. We're going to be carrying Baldwin as well. So, Sean, we've got tremendous sports just bumper to bumper here, plus all of our Ottawa University stuff. And we're so glad to have, who better today than Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., the Georgetown legend, who's got his own podcast, play-by-play. You can found that on any podcast site in the nation. He's also broadcasting for ESPN. And guys, we are sponsored by a wonderful group spearheaded by Jim and Cindy Jandrin. This signal here caroms across Lynn and Johnson and Douglas and Franklin and Miami and Anderson counties. It traverses up to our capital in Topeka, up to Lawrence, where they were celebratory yesterday after that big Kansas victory. It goes up to Emporia, goes the Kansas City suburbs, as well as our anchor here in Ottawa, not to mention Garnett and Wellsville and Paola in Princeton. Jim and Cindy Jandrin with Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC. Energy for a strong America. Renewable fuels, ethanol is lean, is mean, and is clean. And Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org and get your t-shirt. Help build a culture of life. Run and walk for life, like so many of our college kids, and even all the way to our seniors are doing, helping to build a culture of life that is right now helping expectant mothers and babies on the way, and once they're born and delivered. Go to liferunners.org. Coach Knapp, the great Georgetown Wizard coach, you took teams into many tournaments, including your Big East champion and a NCAA top 10 team, deep dives in the tournament. You helped build women's hoops to Title IX parity and TV national television, and it was from your vaunted perch there in Washington, D.C., where you had that great megaphone. Now you rocket from the desert Southwest. Coach, let's talk about, we are now in the fever pitch season. We are, we literally are in March Madness. And of course, I go back to the CBS days of Billy Packer and Al McGuire in the early 80s when the Final Four and the big dance really hit television like never before, just catapulting college hoops to almost America's pastime. Kenny Loggins was the CBS theme back then. And, Coach, that probably brings back a few memories. But, Coach, it's an exciting time. I've even seen spring in the step of my Kansas Jayhawk fans. The lovely and gracious Deborah and I were dining out last night. Giant screens had that big KU win on there, and there is spring back in the steps. The Jayhawk fans, talk to us, Coach. Bracketology from Knapp.
Well, let's stay with Kansas right now. 20-11 overall, 11-9 in the Big 12, finished sixth. That was a disappointing finish for you Jayhawk fans. You know that. And I think the bottom line is offensive efficiency. They did well. 58% of their two-point distribution ranked them ninth in the country, but their three-point distribution ranked them 271st. And they don't get to the foul line enough because they're 357th in Division I in that category. Having said that, they beat a good team the other day, Arizona, 83-76. They had 13 offensive rebounds and 16 second-half points. Hunter Dickinson, who I've been critical of, had 33 points. Zeke Mayo had 20. The starters played 32 minutes plus each. Bill Self is shortening his bench, and he is, I think he's looked at players like Coit and Storr and said, you're not giving us enough. You're not going to be on the floor quite as much as you used to be. So he's shortening his bench. The other thing is I don't think they're going to be a 7 seed, but right now they are a 7 seed in the latest Joey brackets, bracketology. They're in the Cleveland regional, and they would have Alabama looming in game 2.
Wow.
And I think it would be bye-bye Jayhawks at that point in time. Kansas State, as we know, John, is out of it. If they don't finish 500 or above, they won't even get an NIT or a Vegas invite. Kansas State has been tremendously disappointing. I won't bore you with the numbers other than, their offense's efficiency rating overall is 111th in the country. And they have a very inconsistent offense. And Coleman Hawkins, who was the big catch for big money, really came up short, in my opinion. So they have depth issues and they had scoring issues. Right now, they open up with Arizona State in the first round of the Big 12 tournament, and I think that's on Tuesday.
Yeah, here with the Georgetown legend, Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr. We've been joined by the home and away voice of the Ottawa Braves, the great Blake Griffin. Blake, we were teasing earlier, we're going to have a lot of hoops on here this week in between possibly a Thursday bomb cyclone that could portend anything from blizzard to tornado. The Royals start on the 27th. On that Thursday, we will have that. Here's the official home and away voice of the Kansas City Royals. Blake, a good day for Ottawa yesterday. I was able to traverse the trifecta of home events, a split on the softball diamond against a really excellent Grandview team from Des Moines. Mm-hmm. And they were just, I know these Grandview folks from when I was a state legislator up there. Terrific program, and we got a wonderful split yesterday. Could have won that first game at the tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 7th of the first game with no outs. Second game, we just overpowered them. So they're heading into conference with roughly a 500 season with a brutal road schedule. I think they're prepped well by Coach Meili Deutsch. And then the volleyball men, surprisingly, swept 2 yesterday, volleyball indoor men over Morningside. And then, of course, our back-to-back 4-time defending national title collegiate in all college flag football team dominating a 48-0 win yesterday. I was able to PA announce a little bit of that there. But Blake, You heard Coach. Is there some spring in the step of these KU fans? That was a big win yesterday. It looks bad if they're going to be a 7 seed. They could face Alabama, but Blake, do you think they can make a little run here in the conference tourney?
I mean, the best news for KU will always be that they play the conference tournament in Kansas City. It is essentially Allen Fieldhouse
Great
Part
point.
2.
Great point.
It will be loud. It will be a Jayhawk-friendly environment. I'll see if I can get down there for a couple of those games because we've gone year after year. Those are fun games to get down to.
And just remember, the Ottawa kids are very friendly with the KU kids. They went to high school together. They competed.
Yeah, there's
high
some
school years together.
crossover.
It's a 15-minute drive. They socialize. They fraternize. They're friends.
Yeah, there's some crossover. So we are decently KU fans, unless you grew up a little more west, and then you're probably more of a K-State fan.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we go up there. It's gonna be a decent run for KU here. The Big 12 is very good. They're very top heavy. I don't know if KU has enough to get past Houston or maybe even Iowa State at this point. But we've seen crazier things happen. It is March, and it is in Kansas City.
Yeah, Coach. What say you? Can Kansas get out of that 7 seed? How many games do they need to win the tournament to maybe pop their seeding?
I personally think they have to go to the final
Yep.
at least. I think they are locked in at 7 or 8, in my opinion. Now, throw a little challenge out there to you Jayhawk fans. I understand Iowa State owns Kansas City. What say you?
Yeah, no, I mean those Iowa State fans travel incredibly. I don't know what it is about Iowa teams in general.
Well, they drink the town dry when they show up. We know that.
Well, let me tell you what it is. There ain't much going on up in Ames. They got to go to the big city, so they're loving Kansas City.
Yeah, it is a year of the underdogs too. Coach, formerly University of Nebraska at Omaha, now Omaha University, they're a lock, and a little team like Drake's doing well, while some of the biggies like Iowa and Iowa State and Kansas K-State are having troubles. What about these Cinderella story teams that get these automatic tickets punched to the NCAA? Do you like it that there's automatic locks for these lesser conference champions, Coach?
I do. I think it helps it's the last semblance of reality and achievement for the lower conferences. They're going to go in and play that thing through and through 100%. Whereas you already hear talk in the SEC and the Big Ten circles that the top teams, if they quote unquote tanked, wouldn't be bothered because it gives them a few extra days rest as they run into the NCAA tournament. I hate hearing that. I do believe these conference tournaments, like the conference championship games in football, as everything gets realigned, will be given a very, very strong look. And by then, you could have a conference like the Missouri Valley be totally separate from the Power Four. I don't want to see that, but you talk about, the Cinderellas. Today, Bradley and Drake are playing. The winner will go to the NCAA tournament, and I'm reading that Drake will go anyway.
Yep.
When that happens, that means that some of these bubble teams, who I think are horrendous, Oklahoma being one of them, Ohio State really fading, don't belong in the tournament, and they'll get bumped out. My underdog, who right now is on a 7-game win streak and is in 5th place in the Big East, is Xavier.
Interesting.
Watch out for the Musketeers. Coach Miller knows how to coach. Sean Miller, an outstanding coach. Their big man, Zach Fremantle, is healthy for the last month, playing well. The other team I would be scared of, although they're not an underdog from a small conference, I think Indiana is playing very well, and they're playing for their coach. Mike Woodson's on his way out, but it looks like he's going to have a few more games to play in the Big Ten and the NCAAs.
Here with Coach Patrick J. Knapp Jr., listening to the Jacobson Report here, Sunday night primetime on KOFO. Here with Blake Griffin and Sean Torres. Blake, the home and away voice of the Ottawa Braves. And Blake, we are brought to you by Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, Energy for a Strong America. Renewable fuels, ethanol is lean, is clean, is green. It builds it builds revenue vectors for our farm families. It allows us to control our food supply here in the United States among thousands of agribusiness folks that love America, that are not from Mid-East terror states, nor are they corporate concentrationists. Midwest Renewable Energy, LLC, and the good people at Life Runners. Go to liferunners.org, get your t-shirt, run and walk for life like the loving, gracious Deborah Jacobson does, building that culture of life to help expectant mothers and babies on the way and after they're born. Life Runners. We are here on a beautiful, beautiful spring day. Blake, you do a lot of our news, weather, sports when you're not doing the Ottawa Braves calls. I'm telling our folks to keep their radios tuned this week to KOFO because the central Kansas Plains are in bomb cyclone territory. It looks like Thursday, Friday could be anything from blizzard to tornadoes. It's Kansas in mid-March, Blake.
Yeah, Kansas is mid-March, and we can never have any sort of championship games without absolute chaos. We every time we go down to Great Bend for the baseball softball championships, which now have been moved to Joplin, we always have rain that moves it back. We're now going down to Salina for the Ottawa High School Cyclones down in Salina this weekend. So of course there has to be weather to sort of prevent that and make us maybe have to adjust some schedules. It's never easy working in radio, but we love it all the same.
We're aptly named the Cyclones, aren't we?
Yes, maybe it's some foreshadowing for some success down there in Salina.
Well, I got to tell you, Coach, if only you could be there Friday and Saturday for the great baseball conference that Professor Andy Hunsaker has here at Ottawa University. It is a baseball conference. He usually brings in some major leaguers, doesn't he?
I think he had Ernie Banks one of the years.
Wow.
It was he's a very very well known guy in the literary scene over there. Probably one of the best classes I ever took under him as well was what was it called? Poetry in baseball or something like that. Baseball literature. It was a great class.
Yes, he's just a great guy, and Coach. It's interesting. I'm supposed to give a talk on great broadcasters. I came up with a topic, great baseball broadcasters. I've done my work on that, and Scully, of course, and several other greats. And I think it'll be interesting. We've also got some good clips that we've run here through things as well, Coach. Let's stay on the basketball track for just a minute here, guys, as you're listening to us tonight. Coach, can you give us a little handicapping on the women's side of the bracket? So much interest now. The women's game has exploded in popularity.
Well, the number one seeds right now for the women will be Texas, USC, South Carolina, and UCLA. The number two seeds should not be ignored. NC State and UConn, as well as LSU and Notre Dame. I think there are 8 teams that can win a national title. The 4 that I mentioned, I think Ohio State is very good. I believe TCU with Ashley Van Leith is on a roll. They've had an outstanding season, and I would leave it at that. So that would make it 8. So right there, you have the favorites in the Big 12. We mentioned TCU. Baylor will get in. Oklahoma State will get in. Kansas State, West Virginia, Utah, and Iowa State. Pretty much a solid 7. I take umbrage with the Big 10 because they're predicting 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think Iowa's in? Do you think Iowa got in even with that heartbreaking loss against Ohio State?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Iowa, to me, is 10th on that list of 13.
Okay.
They're in. I don't believe they're in trouble at all. UCLA, USC, Ohio State, Maryland, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State, Oregon, Indiana, and Iowa. So it'll be a dogfight for the rest of the group. Washington is in the last 4 out. Excuse me. Nebraska's in the last 4 out. Oregon's in the last 4 out. So they're the 3 that they're on the bubble. They're all the last 4 in: Nebraska, Oregon, and Washington. I think that's too many. I think you might see St. Joseph's win the league today, and steal a bid. And can you believe it, John? Princeton, Harvard, and there's one other Ivy. I'm losing my mind here. It may be Yale. I might be wrong. There's 3 Ivies supposed to get in.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I can't
3.
believe that. I can't. What?
No.
Coach,
No.
what about the Big 12? Who do you think's in again for the Big 12 women? Recap for our audience.
Yeah, for the Big 12 women, right here, TCU, Baylor, Oklahoma State easily, K-State easily, West Virginia, Utah, and Iowa State. Iowa State's probably the one that's the most on the bubble, but when you look at Charlie Cream's bracketology, Iowa State is clearly in at this point.
And you've got our K-State Wildcats in, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe they are a 4 seed.
So they could have some
And,
legs.
Yeah. No, they're a quality team.
Yeah, they are.
had
They
a
gave
heck of a
Iowa
year.
fits the last couple of years. With Caitlin Clark, they gave Iowa absolute fits. So
Yeah, K-State fans should look for probably a Sweet 16 run.
wow. Blake, that would be very good if the men get a surge here for the Jayhawks and the Wildcat women come through. We could have some good postseason restaurant bar tabs here in the community, couldn't we?
Yeah, maybe a couple. It's going to take a little extra for KU to maybe grow some legs and go, but the K-State women have had their fair share of some good seasons over the last couple of years.
Hey, Coach, we see already, as you alluded to, some coaches we know are on their way out the door, some voluntarily, some not so voluntarily. Coach, you timed it perfectly in your career, but so many coaches stay too long. I think the greatest timing ever was Tom Osborne, who retired early, probably could have won 2 more national titles, but left with essentially 5, 3 of his own and 2 with Devaney. Coach, when does a guy, I'll use 2 examples. When does Bill Self know if he stayed too long? When does Fran McCaffrey at Iowa know if he's stayed too long? Is it like the politicians? They just don't know when to leave, Coach? Do you see any changes on the horizon here? Who's on the hot seat right now?
Well, it's not Bill Self. It's not Bill Self. I'll tell you that. It's not Bill Self. I think they learned a big lesson about roster construction this year, and don't be surprised if he comes through with flying colors. There'll be no lack of NIL money in Lawrence, Kansas. I have to believe that. I don't know what Iowa's going to do. I don't know. Obviously, I'm a Philly guy. I grew up and coached around the time Fran was in the Catholic League in Philly as well as the University of Pennsylvania. I feel I know him well, and I feel that he is a very good coach. I do believe that. I know I'll get my boy Scotty's going to beat me up on that. But they've dropped in the talent area just from the naked eye.
Yeah.
When you look particularly at athleticism,
Yep.
they've dropped in the talent area, particularly in the post, the 4 and the 5 spot.
Yep.
So what is Iowa going to do? What is the NIL money like in Des Moines? I don't know that. I'm not as close to that. There are jobs that are open right now, of course. Well, Miami just closed with Jai Lucas leaving Duke immediately to go down to Miami. Why? Because the transfer portal opens March 24th, which is ridiculous. Why are we doing that in the middle of the NCAA tournament? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
NC State just fired their coach, and on the men's side. And Utah just hired a new coach as well, Alex Jensen, who played for them. He'll come on at the end of the season. There will be more to come. I think, Indiana, obviously, has already mentioned that they will have an opening. There will be more to come. It's hard to say who it might be, but we know it explodes at this time of year.
Coach, I've got 10 radio clips ready for the baseball seminar with Professor Andy Hazuka this weekend here. And some of those are excellent calls like Roger Maris and Hank Aaron and, Vin Scully, of course, with the great perfect game by Sandy Koufax, Mike Schmidt's hit, Pete Rose's hit, Joe Morgan for the Blue Jays. We've got some just tremendous. Of course, the Giants win the pennant. We've got just a nice panoply there. So I've only got time for my first top 10. Coach, here's in my first top 10, and I'm basing this on longevity in both radio and television. Some of these go back 75 years, but I've got Mel Allen, Red Barber, Jack Brickhouse, Jack Buck, Harry Carey. I have Dizzy Dean. I have Joe Garagiola, Kurt Gowdy. I have also, let's see here, Phil Rizzuto and Vin Scully. What do you think of that list, that top 10, Coach, for starters?
Wow. Well, you went old school there, buddy. Let me tell you.
I did. I went
You
old
went-
school. I did go old school. There, as a matter of fact, part of my qualifications for this top 10 list, Blake, was that they had to be a classic. You have to be older than a quarter of a century. That's why I don't have Costas or even Euchre on this list, because I'm giving my first foray to maybe some of the forgotten ones.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yesterday at the Ball Diamond in Ottawa during the women's softball game, Blake, I was talking to one of our fellow friends there who had no idea who Harry Carey was.
Oh my goodness.
Your age and a great baseball fan. So, Coach, we got to educate folks on their American history. I'm no Ken Burns, but in my own way, we got to keep that American zeitgeist going of America's pastime.
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. That is a historic list, without a doubt. There are others that could crack it. Now, Tim McCarver was an analyst. He wasn't a play-by-play
He's
guy,
on
but
my
highly-
list. He's on the second
Yeah.
10. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
And I am very partial to Harry Carey. I'm sorry, Harry Callis.
Harry Callis
Started
is
in
on there.
Houston.
Yeah, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact, we have
and-
Harry
and ended up-
Callis making one of the great calls on our audio tapes, so he will be featured. We've got the 10 great classic announcers, but then the 10 great calls. So we'll have a mixture. Harry Callis will be represented on that very nicely, too.
Yeah, Tony Kubek.
I've got
again, a
him on the
great
second
analyst,
list. Yes, he's
Yep,
on the second
yep.
list.
a
So,
great analyst.
Coach, you've got precognition. You know who's on my second 10 here. This will be fun to chat about that at next year's conference. Hey, Coach, we're wrapping things up here, but Coach, you've got this wonderful podcast, and also you're still broadcasting on ESPN, but tell us about the broadcast on the podcast and how our folks can listen to it.
Absolutely. Play-by-play with my partner, Jerry Busson, is anywhere where you get podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, etc. We just had a man on who's worked for Nike and the NBA as a scout and a special events director for over 35 years, Rich Shubrook.
Wow.
I found it a very witty and informative 45 minutes. The gentleman is writing a screenplay and a new book. I won't spoil it here. Listen to the podcast. He has a tremendous idea. John, I'll share with you later.
Sounds great,
it
Coach.
makes a tremendous radio show. So I'll
Interesting.
throw the idea by you later.
All right, this sounds wonderful. And Blake Griffin, you have an announcement. We have a nationally ranked baseball team for whom you call plays.
Yes, we do. 22nd in the country as of the latest rankings, with the chance to move up. There's been a lot of upsets this week in the teens and the single digits. So in a couple of weeks, when the next one comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if we hop up a couple more.
And our Ottawa Braves men, they're already close to 20 wins. What kind of record they got right now?
19-3,
Wow.
eight game winning streak. With a decent part of the schedule coming up. We open up the conference midweeks with McPherson and friends, so that'll be a couple of good series to look out for. We won't cover them this week. We were supposed to cover them this week for KOFO, but we've got to go out to Salina and cover championship basketball. But we will have both.
Big radio advertising bucks.
Oh yeah, I know you've been all over selling the heck out of those two games. But yeah, we'll have them, and we'll have softball on with Matt Kincaid as well, which should be another good year for Ottawa baseball and softball.
Indeed. But we love having Coach Knapp with us, and Blake Griffin, and Sean Torres. This is John Jacobson saying, stay tuned to KOFO for all of your state championship basketball sports, as well as the wild and wacky weather that we're going to have. Stay tuned to that 1220-1037 dial. Listen live on KOFO.com and grab this podcast on KOFO.com. For Blake Griffin, Sean Torres, and Coach Patrick J. Knapp, John Jacobson here is saying, be safe, be smart, be good, be strong. love Jesus Christ on this first Sunday in Lent, and God bless us, everyone. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.